With that, I don't even have my agenda in front of me. I said we're getting going, and I'm lying to you. Here we go. Roll call. Let's start with roll call.
Roll call. Ms. Grzymkowski is absent. Mr. Dimick is absent. Ms. Ryan.
Here.
Mr. Wiseman.
Here.
Ms. Cotter.
I'm here.
I am present. Ms. Dodd.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance if you're able. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'm looking for approval of the agenda.
I move the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented.
All right, do we have support?
I'll support it.
Support from Cotter, thank you very much. Can we have a discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is items from the board president. That's me. I want to welcome my board colleagues back. Cotter and Mr. Dimick and I stayed home to hold down the fort, but Ms. Grzymkowski, Mr. Wiseman, Ms. Ryan, Ms. Pastana, and Dr. Salah just got back from the National School Board Association meeting. I think at our next, I don't want to ask them to report out tonight because I think they're still just reeling from all the excitement of a National School Board Association conference. But I would love if somebody would do a brief report out at our next meeting just so we can hear a little bit more about what you learned. I know I already got the download from Mr. Wiseman about all the stuff, good stuff that he learned, but we always come back with good information, good ideas, and motivated to continue being good stewards of the public. So we appreciate that. While staying behind, I had the honor of attending the Outstanding Persons in Education Award, and I'll just point to the photo over here. I know we're going to talk about two of the three winners tonight, but the Education Association every year gives awards to outstanding persons in education, and these are our fine winners from this year, and I appreciated being invited, attending, and celebrating the absolutely wonderful people that we have both in our community and in our schools supporting our kids. So let's give them a quick round of applause. And then we also, those of us who stayed behind were able to attend the Blessings in a Backpack fundraiser. I don't think there was another way they could have raised money. They did all the things one could do to raise money. Auctions, live, silent, raffles, comedy, all the things. And tonight we're going to be able to honor the heroes who have done a lot of the work behind raising funds for Blessings in a Backpack, and we'll learn a little bit more. But the most important thing about Blessings in a Backpack in our community is we have kids who, with dignity and honor, are able to go home with food over the weekends in a nice little bag that they take home. So when we're not providing breakfast and lunch for them here at school, they have good food to fill their bellies when they're at home. And we know that that's an important thing to do. And it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful to have our whole community, 300 people come together for all of the excitement this weekend. I don't think there was another parking spot or chair to be added. It was absolutely, Baker's was busting at the seams. So thank you very much to everybody who came out to support Blessings in a Backpack, and thank you to the volunteers who really do a huge amount of work in our community for this cause and for our kids. And then finally, I always say something about public comment, and I can't find my nice little speech, so I'm just going to wing it. Every board meeting, we have the opportunity for the public to share public comment in sections 3 and 7 of our agenda. Section 3 is for items that we are voting on. Section 7 is for any other items that are not included in our agenda. We allocate 15 minutes for items in Section 3. We do make sure that everyone who wants to speak about something we're voting on does have a chance to speak before we do go on in the meeting, so we will make sure that happens. If we don't fill up that 15 minutes with items from, that we'll be voting on, then we will entertain other public comments. If you're interested in making a public comment, there are forms over at the table by the door. Please complete one of those forms and turn it in to Ms. Cadell. She will then give it to me, and we will be sure to call your name during the public comment period. Everyone is given 3 minutes to speak. You must be present to speak. You cannot share your time with anybody else. We ask that you refrain from name calling and those sort of things during public comment. Otherwise, just a reminder that this is a opportunity for you to address the board, not an opportunity for two-way conversation. And we respect everyone's right to free speech, and we honor that during our public comment sections. And then finally, we did host our community forums. Between the last meeting and this meeting, we had forums at Lakewood Elementary and Heritage Elementary School. We did have some people from the community attend, and I think our board members are always, before community forums, we all get a little nervous about who's going to come and what are they going to talk about and what do we not know, and are there going to be good things or bad things or what's going to happen. And every time we do these, we are so grateful and happy for the people in our community who come and have honest conversations with us about the things that matter the most. And frequently they find that we sit down and we have a conversation, we're like, all right, let's see what we can do to move forward in a really functional, healthy way. And it's a great opportunity for us to learn about things that we didn't know people were concerned about in the community. So thank you to those people who joined us, and know that we take to heart those conversations and your passion and interest in making our schools stronger and better, and we will constantly work to do that. With that, I will move on to recognition, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Salah.
Yeah, and I would invite Ms. Rothler to the microphone to present our Huron Valley Hero and our Huron Valley highlight.
Good evening. Tonight we have the privilege of recognizing a group of individuals whose impact reaches far beyond the classroom and into the lives of students and families in the most meaningful way. As President Dodd mentioned, Blessings in a Backpack is built on a simple but powerful mission to ensure that children who rely on school meals during the week do not go hungry on weekends. But this mission does not happen on its own. It happens because of people. Tonight, we recognize our Blessings in a Backpack volunteers for their extraordinary commitment to serving others. If Ms. Pastana, along with representatives from Blessings in a Backpack that we have here, could join us up.
Well, good evening. Thank you all for being here. And as Ms. Dodd said, as Ms. Rothler said, you guys are doing amazing things for our kids in our district, and we want you to know how much we appreciate it. We know how much time and effort you are putting into this, and I'm not sure I can say the number of hours that you must spend, but we appreciate it from the board perspective and from every school in the district. So I'm going to present you with a little honor that says Blessings in a Backpack for outstanding representation of Huron Valley schools. And we thank you. And we'd love for anybody to come up here and have a conversation or tell us a little bit about.
I will just start this conversation because this is really a community project. So my name is Pam Barkholtz. If you don't know me, I've been in the community for over 50 years. Nevertheless, I want to tell you that I'm the program coordinator for Blessings in a Backpack that is contracted through the Huron Valley Optimists with the national organization blessingsinAbackpack.org, if you want to look it up on a website, blessingsinAbackpack.org. This is a grassroots effort that was started by someone in a classroom who recognized hunger on Monday that was interfering with children's ability to fully participate in what the teachers had to offer. So Blessings in a Backpack began in about 2008. We began our program, our Huron Valley program, in the 2015-16 school year, but we began fundraising in 2014. We started with 70 students at Brooks Elementary. We reached a pinnacle of feeding 1,000 students a week. We have, according to census data, 3,000 students in our school district who are eligible because of food insecurity. That means that there's not meals available in a variety of ways, and I've got lots of other people that are going to tell you about that. I want to tell you that a very small group run this program for a long time. But about a year ago, we were blessed with somebody who came forward and said, I want to help you guys do this better. I want to help you reach more people. Because of the work of Dana Brennan, we now have over 30 people that meet once a month on the fourth Tuesday of every month to talk about how we can continue this program and how we can do it better. We want to do it better. We want to serve all 3,000 kids that are eligible, but that takes money. So I'm going to turn it over to the leadership team, who are your constituents, by the way. We have a lot of Huron Valley families who are very interested in this program and interested in helping. So Dana Brennan is our champion here. She got the group together. She knew how to corral lots of community people on a weeknight on a regular basis. Dana has helped lead the development of a leadership team, which the Optimists have accepted. That includes Dana Brennan as the chair of that. Carrie Malik, you might know that name. Eileen Thompson and Lisa Elliott. Every one of these parents standing here, including Gina, Selaski, and Heidi Humphreys. Every one of these parents standing here have or have had students in our district, besides me. I've had students and grandstudents in this district. So thank you. I want to turn this over to Dana.
So we appreciate the opportunity, and more than anything, we appreciate the partnership with the district to pull this off on a weekly basis, because it requires open communication and the support of all. So within our community, we have generated and rallied quite a group of volunteers that are just as passionate about this cause as this small sampling of our volunteer team has. So it costs $175 per student per school year to make sure that our students go home with food on the weekend that they can prepare for themselves without much extra in terms of resources. So we do a lot in terms of fundraising, and hopefully you've seen us on social media. We've made quite a big impact over the last several months with that, and again, that's thanks to all of our community for sharing and reposting and showing up in small ways but consistently has made a really big difference for our group and for our students. And at the end of the day, this is a cause that not just affects the students who need the help, but it affects the students that are sitting next to those students. And if we can create a better learning environment for everyone, that's our goal. So we really appreciate the support. We thank you for the spotlight, and we're excited to keep doing the work that we're all happy to do.
Oh, I didn't know if we're taking a picture here. There. Here, Dana.
We would like a picture with you and all of the board, but first, if anybody else on the board has any questions or comments.
I'll comment. I just want to say, on behalf of myself, my family, my grandchildren, and all the students of Huron Valley Schools, a big thank you, because we talk a lot about our students being ready to learn, and for our students to be ready to learn, we have to take care of basic necessities. Obviously, we spend a considerable amount of money getting our students to school, but once they arrive to school, there are other basic needs that they need to prepare themselves to learn and to be the very best that they can. A universal free breakfast and lunch is important, but we always worry about our kids when they're not in school. where we can't provide those needs. And you feel that. And I think all of you are an example of our community reaching out and recognizing a variety of needs that our students have. And I will say this, we talk about, and Lindsay talks about blessing in the backpack. I think at every meeting I attend with Ms. Cotter, because she is the champion of blessing in the backpack. And I'm so pleased that it has become not resurrected, but expanded. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
I just have to add to that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much for everything you've done. You've really made a difference here in Huron Valley. Thank you.
And I know that we hear a lot. We hear as a leadership team, and I know in the community, we hear about how do we get parents to be involved because they're so busy. And I know all of you are very busy. I know you have things that you do. And when Pam was like, I need help, I need bodies, I need folks, the fact that you were willing to say, I'm going to carve time out of my day, out of my week, out of my month to do this is really important. And I know I see all of you at all the things, doing all of the things. And it's so important that parents can be involved in things like this. And I'm glad that you are, and I appreciate it, because I know it is a challenge to take time out of your family lives and all of that, but I also know all of your children are probably involved and helping too, which what a great lesson for your kids to learn, to be involved in this exceptional program. So thank you for all you do. Are we in every elementary school now? I know that was the goal. Every elementary. Are we hitting middle schools yet or not quite?
Not yet, but we've got a great plan for next year.
Okay, and do we know how much money you raised on Saturday?
We don't know yet.
Preliminary?
We have a preliminary figure.
What's your preliminary figure? We'll clap regardless of what it is.
You will clap.
You want to come over? Yep.
We have raised a record amount Saturday night, somewhere between 50 and 60,000.
Okay.
And that's because of not just this group here. That's because of the whole community that came out and packed Baker's. We were absolutely at capacity. I'm happy the fire marshal didn't show up. I think we were a couple people over. So we were absolutely very, very grateful that our community is this gracious.
Pam, I just did some fast math, and if it was 60,000, that's 342 and 2/3 kids that you helped for the year with that event this weekend. So that everyone helped with, yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're just gonna, if you guys can stand right in front of the, yeah, and we'll take a picture. Thank you.
All right, and we do usually allow our guests to stay if they'd like, but we also will not notice if you leave. Nothing will be held against you. Donations will still be sent. All right, let's move on to Huron Valley highlights.
Also tonight, I would like to invite two individuals up here who play an important role in supporting innovation and opportunity across our district through their service with the Huron Valley Education Foundation. Please join me in welcoming White Lake Middle School Assistant Principal, Dr. Nick Pruski, and Board Secretary, Ms. Pastana, back up here. They are two people that serve on the Huron Valley Education Foundation Board, and they are here to tell us a little bit more about what the foundation is and their grants for this year.
Thank you, Mrs. Rothler. So the Huron Valley Educational Foundation, we work hard throughout the year to raise funds and then excitingly get to spend those funds on grants to impact teachers in the classroom. So I'm here tonight with Denise Pistana, and we're representing the HVEF board. The HVEF was founded 30 years ago, more to come on that in the fall. But over those 30 years, we've funded just under 600 grants, and that totals approximately $620,000 that went into classrooms to help support innovative education for our students. So up on the screen is a list of all of the HVEF board members. If you are a board member, would you please stand for a moment? So the HVEF is a volunteer foundation. We've got some of you guys, yeah. Thank you very much. And so we're working a lot behind the scenes to raise those funds and create these unique learning opportunities for our students and to be able to help support our teachers in classrooms. So now on to the fun part. So this year we funded 20 grants totaling just under $22,000 at all three levels, the elementary, middle, and high school. And also we were able to support some community grants, the Huron Valley Council of the Arts, and the Hot Robotics program as well. So first off, we're going to look at elementary grants. Teacher recipients, when I announce your name, please rise and stand. And at the end, we'll all group together and take a picture. So first, at the elementary level, from Country Oaks, we have Meredith Richter for her grant, 2 Tongues, 1 Future. And also from Country Oaks, we had Rachel Reese-Cook, Playaway Audio Collection. Congratulations. At Heritage Elementary, we had Sarah Cudback, 1 School, 1 Book for Heritage Elementary. Helping to support our math coaches at both Highland and Heritage, Denise Endicott was awarded 2 grants, one titled Mobile Math Discovery and Learning Carts, and another one entitled Elevating Math Application and Differentiation with STEM Baskets Comprehensive Kits. And then from Johnson Elementary, we had Carla Orlando with Mad Science Assembly. From Kurtz Elementary, we had Kyle Jennings, Activity Tubs. From Lakewood Elementary, we had 2 recipients, Audra Minna, See Me, Feel Me, Touch Me Manipulative Project, and then Anna Burman, the Weekend Nutrition Support for Lakewood Students, which helps to supplement Blessings in a Backpack, which we just heard about. From Spring Mills, we had Jill Brower, A Square for All Abilities. And also Sylvia LaPratte, Loops Our Music into the Future. Congrats, Sylvia. And then Jill Brower also wrote a second grant to benefit all elementaries to bring bowling for everyone to our elementaries. All right, and Denise is going to continue with our secondary grants.
All right, at White Lake Middle School, we have Darcy LaRue, Happy Mats, Happy Minds. We have Tracy Smith from White Lake Middle School, Building a Thinking Classroom in Mathematics. From Harbor High, we have Ann Sembino, Lights, Camera, iPads. From Lakeland, we have Amanda Beckett, Showcasing Science. From Milford High School, we have Kelly Hemmerling, Mobile Whiteboards for Collaborative Math Learning. Also from Milford High School, we have Paige Riley, the School Psychologist Consultation Cupboard. We have a community grant, Georgia Bingham from the Huron Valley Council of the Arts. Hers was called Art for Life. And then we have the Hot Robotics team. Jackie Cardona wrote the grant, and we have her, and we have some students, also Scott. So stand up, Precision Machining. Thank you. So you heard from us, but we thought it would be better to hear from students how a Huron Valley Education Foundation grant impacts their learning. So there's a video coming.
I wrote an HVEF grant to get whiteboards in marker markers in my room this year. The whiteboards were perfect for the classroom so that they could magnetize against the chalkboard and get the kids up and thinking. The really cool part is that they get excited about it when they know that they get to stand up and move around. Lots of kids, usually aren't excited about doing that, but they get excited about using the boards and standing up and collaborating, and it's cool to see. Today, they use the whiteboards for the thinking task. So it's introducing algebra, one-step and two-step equations. It was really cool to see them coming up with their own explanation as to how it works. By them coming up with the process, the algorithm, if you will, on their own, research shows they're going to retain that a lot longer than if I just give them the formula and say, here it is, now use it. So now they have ownership of it. It's their thinking, it's their ideas. It's been great to have the resources of the HVEF and the support of the administrators. It's just different to have all these tools that I can pick and choose from. And when I find out what the kids like, it also makes it easier for them, for me, for us to have fun while we're actually learning, which, is amazing. Moving forward, it's always going to be a part of what I do now because it's just a powerful, powerful tool for the kids, for their learning, for their ownership, for their collaboration. So it's been amazing all around, and that's going to be a part of my routine now.
So the Education Foundation would also like to thank the Huron Valley Communications Department for putting together that video for us, so thank you. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is our third annual golf outing. It is taking place on June 25th at the Bistic Creek Golf Club. It's a 4-person scramble. The cost is $150 per person. And if you're interested, contact Mr. Van Gotham, Jeffrey Van Gotham at hvs.org. And this year we are honoring 2 HVS educators, Kristen Blanchard and Stacy Rennie. That's it. Yeah, everybody that we announced your names, come on up. Board members too.
All right, thank you very much. So much community support doing great things for our schools today that we're celebrating. It feels pretty good. Thanks to everybody for those wonderful presentations. And now we get to hear from our friends at Oxbow Elementary School.
And I have to admit, I was a little nervous because I didn't see Miss Greenleaf
No.
in the audience, but we called her and she's been assembling the children out in the hallway. So Miss Greenleaf is here. I don't know if she can hear me, but if she can't, I think Nick or someone's going to pop out there and let her know that she's on deck. Thank you, Miss Hollander. And there she is. And we'll invite a proud principal of Oxbow Elementary School, Miss Greenleaf, to the microphone.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education and the HVS community. My name is Justine Greenleaf, and I am the proud principal of Oxbow Elementary. Oxbow Elementary is a supportive, diverse, committed, and hard-working school community. Our staff works tirelessly to provide students with a rich and memorable learning experience through the many programs that we offer and the opportunities both inside and outside the classroom. I would like to warmly welcome our Oxbow team members who are here this evening. I see some familiar faces. And then, of course, here behind me as well, we have several of our owls. We truly appreciate their presence and their support this evening. At this time, I am honored to introduce both Mr. Ristow, who is Oxbow's Title I funded PBIS coordinator, and Ms. Sadler, who is one of our beloved and dedicated second grade teachers. Both Mr. Ristow and Ms. Sadler have taken on the important role of leading and mentoring our 4th and 5th grade owls through a newly launched initiative this school year, the Student Leadership Team or Club. Their leadership and commitment to students has been exceptional. They serve as strong mentors and, most importantly, are truly listening to and valuing student voice. This group was designed to empower students to contribute to their school community through service, leadership, and advocacy. Our goal is to provide our owls with a meaningful opportunity to positively impact their school community, strengthen school culture, and to take pride in our school building. This initiative was inspired by feedback gathered through our Student Continuous School Improvement Survey, which was given to all students last year and then continues to do so this year and moving forward. These surveys are shared annually with all of our stakeholders to ensure that we are hearing and responding to voices, thoughts, and suggestions within our school community. I'm very excited about the potential that this new initiative will bring to Oxbow. And now on to Mr. Ristow.
Next. All right. Good evening. Thank you for having us here this evening. If you were here last year for our Oxbow presentation, this should look familiar. This is our tenets that we live by. We have our positivity project, which has character traits, lots of them, but we kind of hone this down, being the owls, to I hoot, and looking at what that stands for in our building in terms of our students showing integrity, helping others, which is a big initiative of our leadership team, owning our behavior, having that responsibility, overcoming obstacles, showing that resiliency, and then treating others and our school with respect. So we really preach this and live this every day at Oxbow, and that's where our students come into being those leaders, and that is where we started looking at how do we want to start this and how do we want to choose these students? And we knew it was going to be 4th and 5th grade students. We would have loved to have gotten this going right off the ground in the fall, but it took some time, and we wanted to do it, thoughtfully and make sure it went in a positive direction that we can build on from year to year. So we asked our 4th and 5th grade teachers this year, and we may look at how we do nominations next year, but just to nominate 2 students from each of their classrooms. So we have 3 4th grade rooms and 3 5th grade rooms, and we looking at those positive role models that demonstrate that I hoot mentality day in and day out, a commitment to our Oxbow community, strong communication skills, which it's been interesting to work with these students and to see how strong those communication skills are. Some of those students coming out of their shell are having that opportunity to lead in a way that maybe they didn't in the classroom. And then the ability to work with our staff to improve our school culture and just some of those things we want to do for our community. Goals and benefits, this is an extensive list. You can see here, I'll just highlight a couple of those. The confidence and responsibility is that big piece. The students at our school are always looking for ways to lead and do things. And we kind of felt like as we talked, there's not always things going on. There's very few before and after school things at the buildings. They have a lot of things in the community they do. Their schedules are booked, a lot of them, with the things that they do. There's so much, curriculum and different things these days. So what could we do in the building to really help build that? And then from that has come that ability to make decisions and take initiative. They have done most of the planning. It's been very ambitious in terms of some of their thoughts and ideas. So in terms of what we can actually accomplish this year. Looking at some of those organization and planning skills, and we'll talk about that a little bit with our serial drive. Teamwork and collaboration has been great. This group, even though half of them are 5th graders and half of them are 4th graders, they have really gelled together. And then just giving them that voice and ownership to look at what does our community need, not just our school community, but our local community as well. So, and then as Ms. Greenleaf spoke to, just using that student data, they know that, okay, we take the survey every year, feeling like they have a voice of something they said and something they were interested in, helps them to be a part of that. So, projects so far, our first one that we kicked off was our cereal box fundraiser, which a couple years ago was something we started as a school, and then it kind of tailed off. I felt like it was something that was really big, but then some of our community partners reached out to us to see if we were still doing this last year, because they really counted on that, like Community Sharing and White Lake Presbyterian Church, to hey, you guys raising that, you know, our families really need these cereals that you guys donate. So we got 300 boxes this year doing this. The students set up a little mini domino run. It wasn't enough to go around the school like some of those cool ones we've done in the past, but they had fun. Did a little video that's on here, which we're not necessarily going to play though, I don't think. I don't know. We'll see if we can tie that in, if we have time here. But it was just, so the kids got to watch it on the announcements. They ran the whole thing. They set the whole thing up. And then they helped load up some of that stuff to go to White Lake Presbyterian, and then we'll be loading up the next batch to go to Community Sharing here, hopefully this week. They've helped with school-wide announcements, 4 different things like our McDonald's night and the cereal drive, and then they want to take more of a leadership role and actually run the announcements in the morning. Actually, Elodie, do you want to do the announcement piece? She loves being Mrs. Greenleaf with her friends, and they've got it down to everything, even the annotations and the different ways she does things, so it's fun to watch them do that. And then they've come up with the norms and the expectations and the roles for the new student leadership team, which, like I said, it's going to be sad to send those 5th graders on because they only got like part of the year, but then hopefully our 4th graders will be interested in taking on that role next year, and then bringing in those new 3rd graders that are becoming 4th graders, so, and to continue to build on that. Oh, I guess the video is going to play. Look at that. Can I click on it? I have no idea.
Good morning. We want to say a huge thank you to everyone who donated to our cereal drive.
Thanks to your support, we collected 300 boxes. Those boxes are going to make a huge difference in our community.
We are so thankful for your generosity and so proud to be an Oxbow Owl.
Before these boxes head out to help others, they have one more job to do as dominoes.
Stay tuned because the cereal box domino run is about to begin.
All right.
So as Greg said, we have 3 fourth grade classes, and they each nominated 2 students. So there's Kennedy, Sterling, Paisley, Preston, Layla, and Ariana, and some of them are here today with us. And then there's also 3 sections of 5th grade with their 2 nominations for showing our character traits that we teach in the Positivity Project and work on through our PBIS model. So we have Macy, Logan, Vanya, Elodie, Ethan, and Brinley that are all a part of our group, and they have come together and worked really well together to start kicking off this leadership team at Oxbow, and we've been able to see an impact on these students and our Oxbow community as a whole. Through our service learning, these students have been able to apply their creativity to solve real-world problems and help those around them, and they are just learning. They're not just learning the concepts, but they're also putting them into action. And this hands-on work builds genuine pride in our school. It's creating a culture where everyone feels they belong. They're able to express their voice. They bring other ideas from their peers, and they tell us things that they want to have happen at school. They bring their own student-led ideas, and they help lead the charge instead of just us adults leading everything. And so the impact
It doesn't just stop there, though. We're able to strengthen our ties with the White Lake community and reach out beyond that, showing these students how their actions matter and they can make a real difference in the world around them, and that they are setting their example for their peers as well. They're making an impact and creating change in their actual community. Yeah. And then we have some next steps planned as well now.
So coming up here in, I guess a week, we're going to have an Earth Day building beautification that they're going to organize and run, and we're going to get out and kind of pick up around Oxbow. They've talked about getting a student mentor program going, which might also include, as you'll see a couple bullets down, like an ambassador welcome program, so when we have new families that they can give the tours for the students and the families, maybe in addition to Mrs. Greenleaf and myself, but letting that be student-led and having those students have the voice of all the great things going on. Recreating a lot of our PBIS stuff, our videos and so forth was COVID time, so updating those videos and getting some posters made and having the students lead that. I always joke the videos without masks on and stuff that teach the kids our expectations. And then they want to, this year, hopefully before the school's out, have a couple family fun movie nights that they want to run and host, one for lower L, one for upper L. And then moving forward, planning school spirit opportunities. We like to tie in with the things that Lakeland's doing, homecoming week, and then some other things that we have in our own buildings. At the end of our slides, I think. So then the next thing I'm going to pass off to Mrs. Greenleaf. We did bring some students who I think are looking to share and talk about their experience.
So I do want to personally welcome all of these kiddos, and as our two team members here were sharing, our kids have really taken this on. They are proud to represent their buildings and their classrooms and their peers, and they're already doing great work. And so we have Sterling, we have Paisley, Ariana, Elodie, Kennedy, and Logan Nash back there, and so this is just half of our crew, but these are the kiddos that could be here this evening, and I know they have a few words that they would like to share as well. Sterling, would you like to start? And I'll be right here with you.
I enjoy the leadership group because I like helping everyone and raising money for our school, and my goal is to continue being kind and helpful and to continue to raise money for our school and community. And being a part of this leadership group makes me feel happy and very special.
Thank you, Sterling. Elodie, did you want to come up too, or Paisley, would you like to come up?
I like the leadership crew because it's really fun, and it feels nice to actually be part of something and help the school get more stuff and raise more money and for the community. It's just really fun.
Good job, Paisley. Does anybody else want to say anything? Would you like to? You don't have to. Yeah? Yeah. Come on, Elodie. You might not need the stool.
I like the Oxbow Leadership Program because they ask us about how we feel about the program and how we think we can make Oxbow a better place, which I like. Also, that brings me to talk about one other thing I wanted to talk about. And I think we could help make Oxbow a better place by spreading more kindness and being a good example for the younger kids leveling up to the higher grades. And some of my goals are to try my best in school and get into a vet program at MSU. And that's all I wanted to share.
Anybody else? Are you good? Okay. Any questions from the board?
I always look at Tom because I know he's going to have questions. Let's look this way. All right.
I love it. I have 3 graduates from Oxbow Elementary, my children. But I'd like how many are there? 6 or 7 young people from Oxbow. I love the phrase, I hoot. But I would like somebody to explain to me or give me an example of how you show integrity.
That's a good one, Mr. Wiseman. All right, who would like to speak to integrity and how we show integrity at Oxbow?
What is integrity?
Come on, Ariana. You want to stand? Yeah, you can stand on there.
This is not rehearsed. And your name?
My name is Ariana.
All right.
Integrity is like how you can show kindness when nobody's watching, and people can trust you and can trust you when they're not looking, or some teachers using the restroom or something, or teaching, and you can be kind to others and show, like if the kid does not understand, you can show them, and if they can't understand what the teacher is trying to say, you can also be kind, listen, doing the right thing when nobody's watching.
That is outstanding. And that is so true. Integrity is absolutely doing the right thing when nobody's watching, because it just becomes part of who you are. So thank you very much. One other, if we have time. I'm also overcoming obstacles. Could anybody give me an example of how you have overcome an obstacle in your young life? No? Well, think about it, and I'm sure that the next time you're in leadership, you can talk about that, okay? But thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having us tonight.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, we have one more question.
One more question. So how many of you are fourth graders and how many of you are fifth graders? How many's fourth? Is anybody fourth? Okay. And then the other two are fifth? Yeah. You guys like being a part of the program? Yeah. Thank you. You did a great job presenting to us today. We appreciate it.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. I can't imagine on this beautiful night that there's anywhere else you'd rather be than sitting in our board meeting. And I certainly will understand if you and your families are prepared to scoot out here. We'll take 1 minute and turn our eyes, and then if you'd like to sneak out, you're welcome to do that. All right. There's still plenty of work to do, I can see, with all the people still on the right side of the room. Okay, moving on down to superintendent communication.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. I have a few items this evening. First and foremost, I wanted to recognize a couple of our transportation department individuals who have been nominated by their peers and selected by a committee to receive the 2026 Oakland County Excellence in Transportation Award for the Huron Valley Schools. This award was presented to these individuals because they exemplified excellence in providing and supporting safe transportation for students across the Huron Valley Schools. And so please join me in sharing congratulations to both Kelly and Nicole. Kelly and Nicole, hopefully you see this. I just want to give you a shout out and thank you for the work that you do every day on behalf of our students. Being a bus driver and working in our transportation department is not an easy task. I've watched the videos on our buses, so I can attest to that firsthand. So they were recognized at a transportation banquet on April 10th. So just wanted to give them that shout out. Couple other items. As you heard President Dodd mention earlier, I did have an opportunity to attend the NSBA conference this past weekend with several board members, and I just want to thank the board for their participation in that event in particular. Spending days away from their family is quite a commitment, and spending hours and hours in workshops, and committing their time to learn about board governance and ideas that they can bring back to our school community is really valuable. So I just want to thank our board for attending that event. I would say one item I took away that I think I'm going to propose as maybe a shared board superintendent goal is, you might recall we built a Board of Education hub where we provide some information, some tools, and some resources, but I think it's underutilized. So I really want to make an effort, and Heather and I were talking about this earlier today. I got some ideas from one of the sessions I attended about how we can improve that hub and really make it a one-stop shop for our board. So we'll talk more about that, and just wanted to share some of my thinking after that conference. And my final item this evening, so you had a updated 3-boxer at your station when you came in today. We don't have to discuss this in great detail right now under superintendent communication, but I want to kind of plant a seed earlier on in the agenda, so that way if you have questions, you can ask them when we get there in the agenda. So you might recall at our last board meeting, we had a presentation by Debbie Talon, teacher leader extraordinaire, who provided a lot of information regarding a methodical process that the district has followed and that she has helped lead related to the adoption of K-5 literacy resources. And this kind of comes on the heels of changes in Public Acts 146 and 147, which required that local school districts adopt updated resources to align with dyslexia laws as well as best practices in K-12 literacy. So as the legislature often does in true legislator fashion, they pass laws, but they do not provide the full set of resources that are needed in order to pay for said changes. So they did pass the Section 35M Literacy Achievement Grant, which will fund in part this textbook adoption that we're asking the board to consider, but there is a general fund expense associated with the adoption of these resources. And this is not a surprise. The board heard all of this at the last board meeting, and our listening audience heard the presentation as well. I just want to remind everybody and place some context here. So for context, as a school district, our TLT team is always looking out several years. We have something called a Gantt chart, and that helps us plan curriculum adoption cycles every single year. And so we know that in about 3 years out from now, we're going to need to make a pretty hefty overhaul in our math curriculum. So we try to budget about $1 million a year total in curriculum adoption resources. So in order to stay that path, there is a slight change in this 3-boxer, and so you'll notice a strike through in the language under future direction. The strike through is this purchase will be for 3 years and extend through the 28-29 school year. We're asking for a change from that to the remaining balance of $358,415.12 will be paid out of the general fund in the 26-27 school year. So essentially, we're paying this year's portion with the 35M grant, a total of $712,676 out of the 25-26 school year is grant funded, and then we'd like to pay the remainder of that out of the 26-27 budget and not move it into the 28-29 budget. And it's merely for a housekeeping purposes because we'd like to keep that curriculum purchase number around $1 million. And if we don't, then in that third year with the math purchase, we would be exceeding the $1 million, and Jeffrey and his team would have to forecast out and budget a little bit more in that 28-29 year. It's not a must-have, but it is a request of the administration. It doesn't really change anything in terms of the resources or the materials that you heard in terms of the presentation last year. I know there may be some questions about when we take possession of the materials, and I'll save that. You know, I know Mr. Wiseman's kind of scratching his head on that one, so I'll turn that over to Dr. Nemeth, and she can answer that question when we get there. But I just want to plant that seed as we approach that agenda item in a little bit later in the agenda. So with that, we are in the home stretch. We have about 8.5 weeks left of the school year. We love this time of the school year. It's a very busy time of the school year. We have, a lot of honor ceremonies and award nights and, all those sorts of celebrations that we get to have with our students. And we're doing a lot of really good work. We're bringing the Student Support Services Strategic Plan that is coming to a close. We have one meeting left, so we look forward to sharing that information with the board either at our May 18th or our June 1st meeting. We've been, today we had a wonderful administrative instructional meeting where Dr. Nemeth and Mr. Kalmbach presented progress that has been made as it relates to the MTSS work that has been ongoing in the district, and I expect a board presentation on that as well. So lots to come in the next couple months of the school year. And so with that, I will pass it back to you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we can take questions about anything related to that CKLA discussion when we get to the voting part of the agenda. Okay, next we have student leadership.
We do. We have Gabby here tonight from Milford High School.
All right.
Hello? Okay. Hi, my name is Gabby Hallgren. I'm Milford High School's student body president, and I want to share a few things that will and are and have happened at Milford. So about 2 weeks ago, the district had spring break, and seniors at both Lakeland and Milford went to Mexico and had a very fun time. Spring sports have started, and there was a very successful tournament this weekend for both boys volleyball at Milford and Lakeland. Juniors are preparing for the SAT that will be happening on Thursday and Friday, so there's definitely a lot of angst regarding that. Charity Week is coming up on May 11th. About every year we pick an organization to work with and fundraise money for that, and the specific organization will be released in a few days. And then last but not least, we have prom on May 22nd, and the theme is Masquerade. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next, we have association communication.
Good evening. Tonight is all about celebration. Congratulations to our Huron Valley Education Foundation grant winners. It's always exciting each year to hear the creative grant projects that are submitted by our educators to support and enrich the lives of our students. And I'll go off script. As a social worker, I can't say enough things about blessings in a backpack. Tonight, it's very exciting. I am here to present 2 special awards. So, to begin, the Huron Valley Education Association, the Huron Valley Educational Support Personnel, and the Huron Valley Para-Educators Association are excited to award Michelle and Michael Schwartz as our Friend of Education Award winners for 2026. The Schwartz family's long history as community members and supporters of Huron Valley schools demonstrates their passion to give back to others. Schwartz's Deli opened their doors in Highland on February 9th, 2011. This year will celebrate 15 years of serving customers and donating back to our community. Michelle and Michael regularly work with our local schools on fundraisers where they donate back a percentage of purchases to help for 5th grade camp, robotics club, and local sports teams. It's not unusual for the Schwartz family to put together lunchboxes at a very reduced price so our sports teams can get a good meal in prior to those important games. Our HVEA has benefited from donated sandwiches and chips and coleslaw to feed our educators at our evening meals. As everyone knows, meetings are so much more productive when we are fueled by delicious food. Michelle shared with me that they are humble people who just want to give back. It's important to them to know that nobody goes hungry. Those who are fortunate to know the Schwartz family easily observe how much they care about our Huron Valley community and their dedication to our schools and families. So it is our honor tonight to present the Friends of Education Award to Michelle and Michael Schwartz. My guess is Michael's at the deli. Michael's at the deli.
He's coaching basketball tonight.
Oh, he's coaching basketball.
Yeah. Little guy started. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Good to be a part of the community. We appreciate you guys.
And one more. The Huron Valley Education Association is incredibly proud to honor Chris Turner as our Outstanding Person in Education for 2026. Chris has been an educator since 2007, and until this year, all of Chris's teaching was at Oak Valley Middle School. Currently, Chris teaches social studies at White Lake. Chris is passionate about teaching and works each day to build relationships with his students and his colleagues. Chris is all in for the HVEA. He's married to a fellow HVEA member, Colleen, and his daughter Olivia attends White Lake with him. Chris wholeheartedly believes in the mission of a union, and it's important to him to advocate actively for teachers who then support our students. Chris has been an HVEA building rep for over 10 years. He seeks out his colleagues and regularly checks in on everyone. And rumor has it he always has coffee going in his classroom. He has much hope for our profession as we support each other and work with each other for the future of our educators and students. In conclusion, Kyle Hamilton, a fellow middle school teacher, shared, "Chris is an incredibly supportive educator and colleague who consistently puts students and fellow teachers first. He is always available to listen, offer guidance, and provide support, creating a positive and welcoming environment for everyone around him." Help us honor Chris as our 2026 Outstanding Person in Education. It is noisy.
Thank you very much. We are celebrating everything tonight. It's pretty great. And again, it's okay. You can go if you want to. You're welcome. I enjoyed having dinner and attending and spending time with your family. So don't worry, I'll be in the deli soon. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Okay, board correspondence. Do we have any board correspondence? There's correspondence happening here.
Sorry. Yeah, no correspondence.
Thank you. Treasurer's report.
Just a brief comment. Dr. Salah in the superintendent's report talked about the National School Board Association conference, but I do want to give a shout out to our board president. One of the conferences that we talked about was advocacy. And you talk about advocacy all the time. And I was able to raise my hand during that meeting, being from the state of Michigan, because we were a model as it relates to advocating for public education at the federal level. And the thing that, I guess it was more of a, boy, I thought all states did what we do in Michigan, and that's not the case. They were advocating during their presentation at the national level that other state associations should follow the Michigan Association's model of meeting with their own representatives. And I know that you do that report and you go every year representing all of us. And I just wanted to, from a treasurer standpoint, it's so important. We talk about money, but money drives opportunities. and for you to speak on our behalf along with your other fellow board members from Oakland County in the state of Michigan in the manner that we do was a model. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Moving on down to reports from board committees. I, of course, had mine up, and I have to pull it up again here. Our last executive committee meeting was March 26, 2026 at 9 a.m. at the admin building. We started right on time. Present were myself, Mr. Wiseman, Ms. Cotter, Dr. Salah, Mr. Van Gogha, Ms. Cadell, Ms. View, Mr. McKenna, and Ms. Rothler. We had no public comment. On our agenda, we discussed tonight's board agenda. We also discussed student leadership. One of our goals this year is to consider ways to possibly enhance the student leadership role with our board. So we had a discussion on refining how students engage with the board. While the role is typically filled by student body president, the committee explored expanding this to students specifically interested in governance and elected office. So I'm going to prepare a draft job description and a draft proposal for the board to look at, respond to, think about. So we're starting from someplace rather than starting from no place. But we did talk with Ms. View and Mr. McKenna about a goal of trying to roll something out at the beginning of next school year. So we have a few months here to really take some time as a board and decide what we think would work for our group. We didn't have anything to discuss related to safety and security. We discussed the Series 1 project updates, which I think we'll hear more about tonight. Mr. Van Gogha provided an itemized list of status of updates of Project 1. The board-approved projects have been identified as priorities for the 24 bond. We also discussed legislative advocacy. See, we always talk about advocacy. Dr. Salah shared that Oakland Schools has approved a resolution for an enhancement millage ballot initiative. A dedicated page will be added to the district website providing factual information and links to the Oakland Schools official resources. Dr. Salah was working at that point to coordinate a meeting with Representative Ann Boland's office, and I think we've confirmed that meeting for April 30th. So we'll be able to report out at our next meeting. Board policy updates. Dr. Salah shared updates proposed by Neola to board policies, many of them. The committee will review and discuss at the April 16th committee meeting. Jeffrey Van Gogha provided an update on the ongoing discussion with Holly Township concerning the sale of the former Highland Middle School site. Mr. Van Gogha presented findings on current transportation challenges, addressing concerns raised during the March 23rd board meeting. Ms. Rothler shared with the committee the dedication plaque and booklet prepared by Communications for the upcoming dedication of the Administrative Services Center to Dr. Nancy Karate. And Ms. Rothler presented the March edition of Education Matters for the committee's review. We adjourned at 10:57. The next meeting will be April 16th at 9 a.m. at the Administration Building. Next, TLT.
TLT met on March 25th at the Administration Building. Meeting was called to order at 9:05. Present were myself, Ms. Grisomkowski, Ms. Cotter, Dr. Nemeth, Mr. Endicott, Mr. Lindberg, Ms. Bjorkman, Mr. Kallenbach, Ms. Horwitz, Mr. Bod, and Gabby from Milford High School. No public comment. There was no unfinished business. Under new business, we talked about the Go Guardian renewal. Mr. Bod updated the committee on the Go Guardian renewal supporting student safety and online learning. The committee approved moving it forward for tonight's board meeting. We talked about Skyward student management system. That's up for renewal. Dr. Nemeth shared with us, with expanded use plan for special education forms and reporting. The committee approved the renewal, which is placed on tonight's consent agenda. Our standing agenda items for strategic plan. Mr. Kallenbach shared that strategic plan will continue to work over the summer with a draft expected for the May 18th board meeting. Safety and security updates. Mr. Endicott shared that the technology department is recycling outdated equipment through Motor City Computing. More information will be shared at future meetings. Under student leadership, Gabby shared with us that they were excited for spring break. Obviously, they had a great time. And they're getting ready for their seniors for their AP exams in May. There were no other items. We adjourned at 10:07, and our next meeting is this Wednesday, April 15th, 9 a.m. at the Administration Building.
Thank you very much. Next, Finance and Operations.
Finance and Operations meeting was held on April 8th, which was a Wednesday at 4:15 at the Administrative Office. Members Wiseman, Member Ryan, and Member Grzymkowski were there, along with Dr. Salah, John Reby, Heather Kerrigan, Gina Moore, Becky Timberlake, Chad Webster, and Oliver Rice from Clark Construction, and Bill Weinrock from TMP. Under public comments, Nick Nicola from Nicola Contracting spoke on his company's financial standings in regards to the bid that it was submitted for the new middle school site work, earthwork, and utilities. We reviewed the minutes, and we had nothing in the consent agenda to discuss. Under unfinished business, we had further discussion, and there were no other questions as it relates to the food nutrition service equipment purchase and the dehumidifiers, air scrubbers, and accessory purchases that are before us tonight under unfinished business. Under new business, we had a discussion regarding the White Lake Middle School Phase 1 furniture package that will be discussed tonight, along with the bid pack 2402 pertaining to the new middle school. At that time, Ms. Timberlake presented to the committee the bid tab and recommendation letter from Clark Construction that's before us, which identifies the 26 bid categories for a total of $58,040,984, which includes a 10% contingency along with a 2.5% general condition, along with other items such as the interior slabs, vapor lock, along with temporary fencing, elevator pit waterproofing, along with other items. In addition to that, we had a discussion regarding the temperature controls, Phase 2 for Lakeland High School, Middle School, and Milford High School, and that'll be presented tonight. There were no further discussions as it relates to safety and security, and there was nothing to report. Under other, bond construction update, representatives from Clark Construction discussed the current and upcoming bond projects, along with middle school's pool project that is tracking well. White Lake Middle School, Ms. Timberlake updated the committee that noting that we are on target and pulling ahead wherever we can as it relates to Phase 1 regarding the exterior aggregate demo, which is nearing completion, along with the framing, which is ongoing, along with the temporary fencing. And the new middle school update, the committee reviewed the letter of recommendation that I talked about further, and an update as related to the Huron Valley Administrative Service Center relocation update. Dr. Salah informed us that the official move date is May 4th, 2026, and has been communicated to the staff. And we are, as President Dodd mentioned, the dedication is scheduled for May 18th. Remind everyone that there will be invitations along with communication as it relates to that, because the new Administrative Service Center relocation is going to be dedicated in the honor of a past superintendent and educator within our community, Dr. Nancy Karate. Future discussion items, there are nothing to report. We adjourned at 5:22, and our next meeting is April 20th at 4:15 at the administrative offices.
Did you say 4:15?
4:15.
Okay. I thought he said 4:14 for a minute, and I thought, wow, that's precise. Next, the Special Education Student Support Services Ad Hoc Committee. Ms. Grzymkowski is the chair of that committee, but she is not here today, so I will be reading the minutes. We held the ad hoc committee meeting on March 27th at noon in the administrative office. Meeting took place, was called to order at 12:02. In attendance were Ms. Pastana, Ms. Grzymkowski, myself, Mr. Kallenbach, Dr. Salah. There was no public comment. Under regular agenda, committee discussed the design and implementation of the Student Support Services Strategic Plan. Mr. Kallenbach reviewed each goal statement and shared an overview of the work completed this far by the goal group committees, including the objectives and evidence of implementation developed through their first 5 meetings. The final strategic planning meeting is scheduled for April 29th, 2026, when the groups will make final edits and recommendations before the plan is presented to the Board of Education for review and approval. Once approved in concept, the Student Support Services team will begin prioritizing objectives, assigning ownership, establishing timelines, and identifying needed resources. Mr. Kallenbach also led a discussion regarding specially designed instructional models at the secondary level, with conversation focused on the liaison and co-teaching models. This will remain an ongoing discussion as the department continues to evaluate programming designed to improve outcomes for students. The meeting was adjourned at 1:47 p.m. The next meeting will take place on May 12, 2026, at 1 p.m. at the new HVS Administration Building. And as Amy would say, we hope to see you there. I did a good Amy. All right, moving on to section 3 of the agenda, public comment. So far, I have not received any public comment forms. I will pause just a minute in case anyone wants to dash over to the forms on the table and then head up to the podium. I see no dashing, so we will move on to the consent agenda. And I did have a recent question about what is the consent agenda and why does it exist. So I just want to share this real quick before we move on to this part. This is just a good overview of what a consent agenda is. Consent agenda in Michigan public meetings streamlines processes for grouping routine items such as minutes, reports, and standard payments into a single agenda item with one motion and one vote. Its primary purpose is to save time, allowing boards to focus on substantive issues. I will share with you that the items that we include in the consent agenda, if there's ever an item that a board member says, hey, I think we should pull that out, we can always do that. And these items are usually reviewed by each of our committees, and it's recommended that they go into the consent agenda if they fall under that concept of minutes, reports, and standard payments. So just for some clarity purposes for anybody watching who's curious about what is this consent agenda. So with that, I'm looking for a motion to approve the items in our consent agenda for this evening.
I'll do that. Is this working? I move the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items A1 and A2, approval of minutes and Skyward SIS renewal as presented.
Thank you very much. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Cotter. All right, any discussion? Wonderful. Let's take a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Cotter?
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Wiseman?
Yes.
Ms. Dodd?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to unfinished business. We'll start out with A, food and nutrition service equipment purchases, Exhibit B.
Yeah, item A was presented to the Finance and Operations Committee at 2 meetings, and it was also brought to our last meeting. We did not have any follow-up questions at the F&O meeting, and I have not. I don't believe Mr. Van Gotham has either received any questions since the last meeting. So we would ask for approval as presented.
Okay, so let's take a motion, and then if we have discussion, we can go from there.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that the Board of Education approve the food and nutrition services equipment purchases as presented.
Thank you very much. Do we have support?
I'll support.
Thank you very much. Discussion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make certain that these funds for this purchase are coming out of the food service budget as opposed to the general fund.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Other questions? All right, let's do a roll call vote.
Mr. Wiseman?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Cotter?
Yes.
I am a yes. Ms. Dodd?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Moving on to dehumidifiers, air scrubbers, and accessory purchases, Exhibit C.
Yes, this agenda item followed the same path as the food and nutrition services equipment, went to F&O on 2 different occasions, presented at the last board meeting. We have not had any additional questions. We would ask for board approval as presented. This item comes from the 2026 Capital Project Fund, which is the bond proposal.
Wonderful, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the purchase as presented?
Yep. I'll move the Board of Education approve the dehumidifiers, air scrubbers, and accessory purchase as presented.
Thank you very much. Do we have support? Support. Thank you very much. All right, discussion. No discussion to my left, to my right. Oh my gosh, mark the date in history. I'll say it. Let me say it.
I do have a question.
Oh, darn it.
I don't want to break
anything.
I don't want to break it up. If I may, Dr. Slav, Mr. Van Gothen, these are going to be purchased and then used during the summer months as needed? And for what reason? Why are we buying them?
So we've had the last 2 years, we've had unusually high humidity, more so than in the past previous 5 to 10 years. And so out of an abundance of caution, we're not going to maybe use them. We will be using them in all of our elementary schools because unlike our elementary schools, our middle schools and high schools have greater frequency of use in the summertime for activities that the students are participating in. Our elementaries tend to stay more dormant in those periods, so they will be used in the summertime once we have this purchase approved, and we plan on procuring these pieces of equipment immediately and starting those up the day school is finished.
So in the past, we've leased them or rented them during the summer months?
Well, we've actually come to have 2 summers now where we've had some challenges in some buildings, not all of them, and while we've been proactive in cleaning and maintaining our spaces, we have not had them running all summer long, which we plan on doing this summer with our own equipment.
And the end result, obviously, is to keep a safe environment, a healthy environment, so that we don't face some extraordinary issues at the beginning of the school year.
Yeah, so I think it's important to note that even when we've had some, we'll call them some mitigation challenges, our buildings have always been very safe. When we've tested those buildings, they're still very safe for the staff, students, community to use. We're just trying to be proactive so that our environment is better than even a hospital might be.
And we're able to do this because our community has supported bond issues in the past. It's being taken out of the bond issue.
Yeah, these are not possible without the support from the community.
Right. Once again, thank you to the community.
That was the one thing I was going to say, was thank you to the community. I guess I can say it again. Passing bonds is really important. Without that, a lot of this stuff is impossible. So we always do appreciate that. And I appreciate the willingness to be proactive. We know this is a problem. We know it's been a challenge. So proactive work here, I really appreciate that in our elementary schools. Without any further discussion, I'd like to call a roll call vote, please.
All right, Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
I am a yes. Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Ms. Dodd.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to early literacy, or elementary literacy, Exhibit D.
Thank you, Madam President. As I shared under my superintendent comments, there are no changes in terms of the presentation that we heard from Ms. Talon at our last board meeting. We've had extensive conversations about the why behind this curricular purchase. The one thing we're asking the board to consider this evening is using 35M to pay the initial cost of $712,676 out of the 25-26 Section 35M literacy grant, and then $358,415.12 to be paid out of general fund during the 26-27 school year. This allows us with future budgeting and future curricular purchases. So with that, Dr. Nemeth is happy to take any questions. I see Ms. Talon in the room as well. I know she's happy to talk about literacy anytime. So we will open it up for any questions.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to do a motion first. Cotter, you're making a motion?
I am. I move that we approve the Exhibit D for elementary literacy as presented and amended by Dr. Salah.
Thank you very much. Do we have support?
I'll support that.
All right. Discussion. Okay, I'm going to start, and that maybe, yeah. What a wonderful presentation. No, you don't have to come up. You just take it in. Take it in. It was an excellent presentation. I am so impressed with the group of people you got together to pilot this. We don't do anything on a whim. And you did a wonderful job pulling together a variety of people who, even when I saw them at the Blessings in a Backpack fundraiser on Saturday night, were talking to me about the literacy pilot. They were so excited about it. So wonderful job. Thank you. You clearly explained, you clearly described, you picked a great curriculum, great support materials, all of that stuff. I think our early readers are really, really going to benefit from the work you and your team did. I'm very excited. I have one question. Why don't we pay for it this year?
So I will let Dr. Nemeth answer that question.
Was the question, why don't we pay it this year?
Yeah.
Oh. Just because of what Dr. Salah was saying before, we try to forecast out all of the curriculum materials with all the subject areas and the different levels. We just try to spread it out. So this year we had a pretty hefty lift with our secondary ELA. If you remember, we purchased a ton of novels, a lot of curriculum resources. It was about the same as the elementary, so we did that this year. We felt since we had the 35M grant funds for the 75% of the cost, we would roll over the second portion. And the vendor that Debbie's worked with has been very, she worked with us on that. So, and then as we also said, there's math coming next. So we're just trying to even out the cost of everything, so it's about the same each year, and we don't have a really hefty curriculum year.
So we would exceed what we expected to spend this year if we...
We would have. Yeah. We would have definitely exceeded because we had that secondary literacy purchases.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions or comments? Mr. Wiseman?
Yes, fabulous job, Debbie. And please pass on to your colleagues that presented, all three of them, and Marty, for what he helped out. But I think it's important to note when you talk about a pilot program is one that took place over a number of years, and the due diligence were that there were a number of our professional staff that were involved in this, and they were able to pilot more than just the program that's in front of us. And they made an excellent choice. I had an opportunity to review all the materials. I have it sitting all right here. It's beyond me. But I invited myself into some classrooms after M-STEP is done so that I can see it firsthand and the effect that the positive effect that it has on our children. It's not a question of what. The program is absolutely wonderful. It's beyond my wildest dreams. I think strategically it's wise, it's important. We heard about this many times in our Vibe in the Valley from our professional staff, the science reading. We are once again, another takeaway from our nationals, well ahead of many of the states within the United States, and it really meets our needs. At the same time, I hear what we're saying, and originally the three-boxer showed the dollars, and once again, it's another case where the state says, hey, we want to support the science of reading, but they give us about 80% or 75% of the dollars that we need, because dollars equate to opportunities, and we talked about that earlier. I think it's a similar question that Laura had, that this grant that we receive from the state, it says on our three-boxer 2025-26, the state's budget goes through September. So we're purchasing items that are going to be in the hands of our teachers for next school year. In addition to the remaining portion is going to also be in the hands of our teachers. So I get it. The biggest concern I have is the original three-boxer. The total dollar amount is the same, but the original three-boxer was that the remaining portion was going to be spread out over 3 years. I totally support this, but at the same time, I'm also very concerned from a financial standpoint. But what I hear Dr. Salah say, that strategically we have a Gantt chart. We know what's coming in the horizon. We know that we have to implement math and we have to do a variety of things. So I appreciate and respect the work that you, along with your administration, has done to make certain that we don't exceed that budget. But we know that dollars are tight. We know that we're going to take all of this out of 1 year as opposed to 3 years. 2 years. Does that mean we're not going to move forward with something that you might have planned, or have you made some adjustments along the way so that we can afford it?
Yes, and we are on track. It was that always try to work with the vendors to see if we can spread things out, just so it's not such a heavy lift in 1 year. We had a couple options here. One was to do it in 2 years, and one was to do it in 3 years. So our initial, and that's why the 3-box was initially written that way. We thought, let's do the 3 years so we can have less of a payment each of the 2 consecutive years. But then looking at the Gantt chart and realizing what's coming up and some of the other areas in high school that we're going to need to fill in, we just felt like it would be beneficial to kind of take care of this one as in the second year, and then leave our budget more flexible for year 3 when we know we probably are going to have some MTSS type of work, some math work, and some other things coming up. So we were just trying to forecast a more balanced
So
budget.
really what we're doing is basically encumbering a certain amount of money for 26-27's budget,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So when we're building the budget and the board approves the budget, we have to recognize that a certain amount of this is already, basically, we've agreed to it.
And that's how we do it every year. So we know it's
Yeah.
about the same amount, and we just kind of forecast the different levels of what we know is going to be coming up for curriculum purchases. And so we don't have to try, we're not going to exceed that, but we are planning for it right now. So it's
Great.
in the plan. Mhm.
Okay.
But I will say you're wise to ask the question because, you know, what we hear coming out of Lansing is never clear. We don't have a clear picture of what our budget's going to look like. You know, I'm hearing maybe 2% increase in foundation allowance, but then they increase retirement costs on the back end, so that's a net zero, and people don't understand that
Right.
typically. So you're wise to ask the question because we are likely going to be confronted with having to make some of these tougher decisions as we move forward related to that.
And I appreciate
15%.
that because literacy is our foundation. And if something has to give, it's certainly not around literacy. And I totally support this. And I just wanted to make certain that we as a board and the public as a whole understand what we're doing here and why we're doing it, and that we're just not coming up with dollars. But there is a certain amount of trepidation, obviously, because we don't know how many students we have. We don't know how, you know, what our funding is going to be. But literacy is one of those things, in my mind, is non-negotiable. So I certainly support this. And I know that Amy has reached out, and I believe she communicated with you, Deb, as it related to her support too. And when we were at our nationals, she felt really bad that she wasn't here tonight because she wanted to also express her support. So thank you again. And please, once again, pass my personal appreciation for and passion that you all showed at the last board meeting. Appreciate it.
All right, other questions? All right, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Cotter.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mr. Wiseman.
Yes.
Miss Ryan.
Yes.
Miss Dodd.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to new business. Oh, yay, all right, we'll clap. All right. Now moving on to new business. Starting out with A, White Lake Middle School Phase 1 Furniture Package, Exhibit E.
So we do have our service providers here, but I know Mr. Van Gotham will take the first wag at this, and if there are any detailed questions, they can also assist with that. But Jeffrey's so good, he probably has all the answers. So Jeffrey, why don't you take item A?
Thank you, Dr. Slaw. So the first item to discuss tonight will be the furniture package. This is a part of the bond program that the board approved with the bond application 2 years ago when we asked the community to support us. This is the first phase of White Lake Middle School, so we're going to do this over several years. We're asking for the board to spend a little under $100,000 before contingency. This is for student tables, some general tables and chairs, some shelving, some teacher podiums, some of the basic things that our teachers need as we start building out what I consider to be the new White Lake Middle School. So this is a first read. I know that was discussed in Finance and Operations, and if anybody has any questions tonight, we do have a representative from TMP with us, and happy to take any questions at this point. But it is a first read. We're not asking for approval this evening.
All right, questions? Yes.
Did staff have input, Jeffrey?
So yes, Denise, staff had input several years ago when we came up with our overall district plan on furniture, and so we're sticking to the same direction that they provided us several years ago when we built out our bond program for not only the first series, but this series as well.
Okay, and they were happy with the furniture from the first series?
From what I gather, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Good question. Other questions? Yes.
As I was reviewing and going through some of it, I needed more photos than what was available. But, is there a book I can look at this, or?
So we can provide you with additional photos if that'll be helpful in your decision making.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Thank you.
Okay.
Other questions? All right. Well, as usual, you are welcome to submit any questions to Dr. Slaa and Mr. Van Gotham over the next few weeks. We will be voting on this at our next board meeting. Moving down to new business B, bid pack 24-02, new middle school, Exhibit F. That's fun to say.
This may be is this the largest bond request we've had? Yeah, this is the largest bond request we've had to date. So that's saying something. You heard Mr. Wiseman speak to this item under his treasurer's report, and so there's all sorts of details on this one. So I'm going to ask Mr. Van Gotham to speak to the bid pack 2402 new middle school.
Thank you, Dr. Slaa. So yeah, very excited to present this award recommendation. Again, this is coming from Clark Construction. We were pleased that we had 155 bids in total, a lot of new vendors who were excited about this work. This is something that not only the school district can kind of, lean in on as a project to be really proud of, but also a lot of these vendors are going to look at this as a flagship opportunity for them, because there aren't a lot of new schools in general being built in the Metro Detroit area. So the fact that we're putting a new middle school in the district is something that the administrative team is very excited about, and we think the community will be very excited about it as well, and we're supportive of such through the passage of our bond. So we're real excited about the opportunity. I think Clark and TMP have done a good job prepping us to get us to this space and phase. They were very well prepped for conversation at our Finance and Operations Committee meeting. Again, this is a first read. We would expect that over the next couple of weeks, if there are additional questions, we'll be happy to take those. But a lot of very excited vendors who are excited about the opportunity to work with Huron Valley Schools. And as we've done in the past, we will have some new people in play because we're going with the lowest responsible and responsive bidders. We're not just looking at those who have participated before. And as I mentioned, by having such a large opportunity over a couple of years, it really brought to the table a lot of new potential partners that we're excited to work with and get started on this very exciting project for the district.
Thank you. I see you unmuting. Go for it. I see your finger on the button. I know.
I just want to, when you talk about 155 bids, obviously that's a reflection of the bid documents and the work that our architect and our construction managers done. But what's so impressive is the vetting process that's been followed. While we talk about going with the lowest responsible bid, there's a lot of vetting that's going on, a lot of screening that's going on to make certain that we are picking the right one. We don't want somebody to come up to me or come up to an administrator and say, well, what do you expect? I was low bid, okay? And that happened to me in my past life, and that's not what you ever want to hear. There's specs that are written, and they're expected to follow those specs. So I think that's important in the amount of activity we had, which is I think 155 bids, is really reflective of the work that Jeffrey and Dr. Slaa and the rest of the team have done in previous work that we've done in the district, that this is a good place to work, all right? This is a good place to be. At the same time, I think it's really important that we get into all these numbers, but really this is actually the end result. The work that was done by this district in their various subcommittees was enormous that when we talk about furniture and has the teachers been an opportunity to take a look at furniture, these specifications that are here are the end results of a lot of time and energy and a lot of communication and a lot of relationship building with the various groups. And we met for months and months and months. So this is really a reflection of the educational specifications. And that's what makes me excited, because what we have are, we're going to have 2 brand new middle schools. We're going to have 2 brand new middle schools that are going to really be our branding of and an opportunity for our kids. And it's really going to provide opportunities for our children and our teachers having spaces so that they can use them to have a positive impact. So we might look at $58 million, but I just really kind of want everybody to realize that this $58 million really represents opportunities for children. And there was a lot of work that was done well in advance of this $58 million worth of bids. This is just the end of this process. And then the next process is the heavy lifting of making certain that becomes a reality. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Yes. You have to talk about this, please.
Actually, Tom said a lot of what I was going to say, but thank you to Jeffrey and his team, TMP and Clark. For those in the community that don't know, I am actually a construction estimator for a competitor of Clark's. So needless to say, I do look through their stuff a lot, in a lot of detail, but the work that was put into this was amazing. It went together really well. The low bid and second bidders was amazing how close they were. So to see how this came together, and it went so smooth. So thank you to the whole team. Like, it was a tough thing to put together in a short amount of time. I don't think everyone understands when you get the bid out, you get the bids back, and you have 155 bids to weed through and make sure they have all the scope. Then you have to do post bids. And you guys did post bids for this whole $58 million in 2 weeks. I mean, it's impressive. So thank you.
All right, and I'm just going to thank our finance committee. You don't often get the competitors person on the committee, but Michelle and Tom and Jacob too have really done a wonderful job. This is a lot of money for us to be responsible for. This is one of the biggest things that a school board does, and the most important way we can make sure that our neighbors' money is being spent well. And it's a big job. And Lindsay just came over to me and said, okay, Michelle says it's good. I think I'm good. You know, and that's the truth. We have an outstanding committee, outstanding vendors, outstanding staff. And I really appreciate that. I know this stuff has been gone over with a fine-tooth comb as much as possible by as many people as possible. And that gives me a lot of confidence as a taxpayer in this community that we're doing right by the money that our community's entrusted us with. And I know our elementary kids, who are future middle schoolers, are really going to benefit from this. My current middle schooler is just going to look on in awe. But our elementary kids that are going to be over there in a few years are really going to benefit from this. So thank you to the committee. Thank you to the folks that we've brought on to help. Thanks to the staff who've done all this. Jeffrey.
Yeah, just real quick before we close the loop on the first read here, I think it's important to note that when we put together the bond program a couple years ago, that when we put this infrastructure budget in particular on this particular building, that the bids with our contingency are coming in over $10 million better than that original budget. So obviously from the bond program to actually designing the building to receiving bids, I think again, because of our partners, TMP and Clark doing such a good job with this particular project, that $10 million we'll be able to use elsewhere in the district for other needs that again are abound in the district. So really happy that, you know, in particular with this project, which is our largest project to date, that we're seeing $10 million on the construction side alone, which will allow us to do other things for the staff and students in the district.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, so we're not voting on anything. We're going to read it over with more fine-tooth combs and put any questions to Dr. Slaw or Mr. Van Gotham over the next few weeks, and we will enthusiastically vote on this matter at our next meeting. Finally, I believe we've fixed all technical difficulties, and we're ready to talk about item D on our agenda. We're on C? Oh, shoot, I was ready to do the next last one. Okay, we're going on to C, Bid Pack 2403, Lakeland and Milford High School Phase 2 temperature controls.
I would ask Mr. Van Gotham to touch on this one as well.
Thank you, Dr. Sloss. So particularly in our high schools, Lakeland and Milford, and throughout the district, we have temperature control systems that allows our M&O team to be able to see our temperature control systems in real time and be able to be quickly responsive to the needs of the staff and students when a particular building is too hot, too cold, a very common theme throughout our district. And so we have a couple of areas in our high schools that have not been finished with respect to some of the improvements that will be made over this bond series as well. One of those things is temperature control. So we have a couple of areas in the two high schools that are currently challenged as far as seeing the temperature control system. So we want to go ahead and fix those so that we can provide better service to both the staff and students in those spaces. So we had a bid put together for the remaining temperature control projects. Again, this is our first read, but as you can see, we're looking for about $1.2 million to complete this work. We do have this allocated within our bond program, and we're excited to get this work done too, so that those particular spaces, and then really from a district, from a total perspective as a district, we have all of our buildings under the same temperature control system, which allows our staff to be, quickly responsive to any needs and challenges that our buildings might be facing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Sorry, I tried to skip over it. No mention. Any questions? All right, if you do have questions, you've got a few weeks to get them in. Now we're going to move on to D, Go Guardian Renewal, Exhibit H.
So Dr. Nemeth will be handling this one.
Okay, so we have another teacher, leader extraordinaire here, Derek Bod, who is overseeing Go Guardian, and Go Guardian is our classroom management and technical safety system that we use to filter content, and it's been around for about 5 years, so just for those of you who need a refresher, Derek's going to share the presentation, and then we are asking for another 5-year renewal of Go Guardian.
Instructional Technology Coordinator, Scott Endicott, Director of Technology. So what I want to do tonight is talk a little bit about the renewal of Go Guardian. When we went to the Chromebooks 5 years ago, 1-to-1 at 6th through 12th grade, and also basically every elementary student has a Chromebook in their class. We also needed a program that would be able to help us manage and oversee those Chromebooks, how our students were using them, and also how our district could manage a large fleet such as that. So 5 years ago, if you want to go ahead. 5 years ago, when we went to look into investing into a large fleet of Chromebooks, we also knew we had to invest in a program that could help us manage those. And back in 2021, that's when we purchased for 5 years Go Guardian. Go Guardian essentially allows us to do two things. It is both an administrative tool for us as administrators to look and help monitor and filter our Chromebooks as students use them, but it is also a classroom teacher tool where our teachers are able to help manage the Chromebooks in the classroom. So it has two parts to that. Both of them very essential to make sure that as our students use their Chromebooks, they're staying safe, they're staying well managed, and that they're only finding content that is appropriate for them to be finding, all right? So, Go Guardian basically works in 3 layers at the admin level, all right? So the very first level is that you select categories. We as a district select categories that say, we do not want any of our students to see, some of the examples here are like violent content, adult content, and we are able to just check those off. Go Guardian goes through, basically is constantly monitoring the internet and associates all the websites out there in the world with various subject matters. And so we're able to block a large number of content based on that. So that's the first priority. The second priority is level number 2. where we are then able to, if something is being blocked that we don't want to be blocked, we can type in the website address and have that open for our teachers and staff to use. On the other hand, if something is making through one of those categories that we don't want out there, then we can block it at the website level so that it's not going through. And then on the third level, which makes GoGuardian extremely powerful, is it now has an AI component, which has AI filtering. GoGuardian is the largest filtering software out there that school districts are using with over a 50% share rate. And basically what that means is that it's constantly being instructed time and time again on what websites should be allowed through or not. So if our student right now was to open up into a website, the GoGuardian would read the content, look at it with AI, and if it made it through the first two filters, it can look at it and say, before it comes onto our student's screen, no, that's not appropriate for a student to see. It looks at the images and it scans all of the text on that website before it comes through. So there's 3 layers of protection there that GoGuardian provides, and that's from the admin level, all right? So just an example of this, these are how the categories work. Don't need to get too much in the weeds of this, but you can see for one is like the business side of things, and then this next one is on controlled substances. So basically we can just click these categories, it scans the internet for those, and we're saying no, we do not want our students to do banking while they're in school. No, we do not want our students to be trading Bitcoin while they're in school. So we can block those. However, if you look, personal finance is one of them. We have lots of curricular matters that deal with personal finance, so that's something that we need to leave open. All right, same thing with controlled substances. We shut all those down, but we also know that our students do research on controlled substances. So I want to show you the next page. On the next page, you will see that at the URL level, which is the website level, down at the very bottom, this is one that we had to have open because that's called Drug-Free World. GoGuardian was blocking it because it had to do with controlled substances, but we have control enough to be able to say, this is something that's in our curriculum, this is something our teachers use, so we open it and are able to be able to go with that. So that's how that works. So basically at the admin level, again, this is the stuff that the admin team is working on, it allows us to see what our students are on. Every student who logs in on a Chromebook with a Huron Valley account, it allows us to see where they're going, what they're doing at all times, okay? It also provides us historical analysis and reporting so that we're able to know, one, what websites our students are going to, and that helps not only with just knowing where they're going, but also some of the products that we've purchased that are technology, we can track. Hey, we've had this many hits on this website. They're using this resource. This is good information to have, etc. We also have, basically if a student is getting into something again and again and again and is going places where that student should not be going, we get alerts. And then we're able to contact admin at the building saying, hey, this is going on. I don't know if you're aware of this, okay? So it works on those 3 levels as well, and we're able to see all of that in pretty much live feedback form. Go ahead. All right, so GoGuardian Teacher is the other part of this product, and this is what our teachers use, okay? So on their side of things, this allows them to, while they're want to keep moving. While they're teaching their classroom, they can then see on their screen what their students are doing, and it basically pulls up every student's screen and it has their screens on their screen so that they can see. The nice thing about GoGuardian, as opposed to some of the competitors, is it's real-time feedback. GoGuardian is very fast and it registers all of their screens very quickly. Some of the competitors delayed 10 seconds, delayed 15 seconds. A lot can happen, as you all know, in 10 to 15 seconds in the classroom. So that real-time feedback is very nice to have. The other thing it allows them to do is it allows our teachers to create what are called scenes. And the scenes are very important because what scenes allow our teachers to do is if we are blocking something at the district level or not blocking something at the district level, this allows the teachers to be able to do their own thing at the classroom level. Big example. We allow YouTube, or at least most YouTube channels, because a lot of our teachers use them at the district level. We do not block YouTube. However, YouTube, as we also know, can be a big distraction on a day-to-day basis in the classroom. A scene allows our teachers today, because of what we're doing in classroom, I'm blocking YouTube in my classroom. So it gives them that kind of control that, the next day they might want to show YouTube, so then they'll be happy that it's open. But on this particular day, they can block it and they can do that. It also allows them to control the number of tabs that a student opens, which is very important when we're doing online assessments. We need to be able to keep students in one place at one time so that they'll be able to do their assessments on that. And then the last thing, it also has classroom management tools so that if the teacher needs to talk to students while they have their Chromebooks open, they can quickly lock their screens, get their attention, deliver, what they have to say, and then unlock their screens and get back to work. So all of those things are things that they can do at the classroom level. Go ahead. This is an example, just basically a generic example of what it looks like. It would show each student's screen. As you can see, these are all fake names. Below that, it shows all the other tabs that are opened on that student's device. And then at the top there, it provides various controls that they can do as they're working with the student. If you want to go. So these are just some numbers that we've pulled over the last 3 years. Most of this is data from this year, but you can also see that we have spent a lot of time over the last 3-4 years as we've gotten a hold of Go Guardian and been promoting it and training, okay? So on this first slide, it shows that 3 years ago, 167 staff members using, last year 188, this year so far, and that number has gone up since then, at 196. So we're showing a 17% increase all the way up. And a very good point to know is that when you're looking at roughly 200 teachers using this, I mean, these are mostly our core classroom teachers using it. We have a lot of educators in this district, but a lot of them aren't necessarily teaching in a core classroom. So when you start to look at what those numbers are, that's a very, very core group of our teachers who are using this, a lot of them. And they depend upon it every day to use their lessons. The other thing that you want to see is that we have down below, it basically is showing how often they are using them each week. We have over 4,500 sessions going on each month, along with some other numbers in terms of how often they run scenes, how often they do other things like that. But it's a widely used program, and our training time that we've put in has been very valuable in getting staff to continue using it as we go. And then last but not least, there is a new product that we are not currently running. We do not, and we are not currently asking for it in the current quote, but just so you know, they are developing something called Go Guardian Hall Pass. So down the road, just to know they are going down this path, which is basically a digital hall pass, which allows our admins at the building level to be able to see who's leaving a classroom at a certain time. It also allows them to see trends, saying, this person and this person seem to be leaving every day at 2 o'clock. I wonder if they're meeting in the hallway. Those kinds of things. So it allows you to be able to see some things that are happening as the hall passes go. So again, not part of the package, but part of something that may be worth exploring down the road. All right? So, any questions about Go Guardian? Oh, I'm sorry, Scott.
A few things to add here. Derek is our instructional technology coordinator, so he's intimately involved with how teachers use their computers and how teachers teach. And so this isn't just a technology question, this is a very much an educational question. You might ask, hey, we just asked for a firewall renewal. And I came up, and you guys asked me, what's a firewall do? It does a lot of these same things, but here's the difference. The difference is that works on a network level. So anything plugged into a network, a bring your own device, a phone, anything, whether or not someone's connected to Google, it works. But this works on the user level. So these take care of our Google users. So not only are they protected and covered when they're in school, we can also, these filters also work when they're at home off of our network, logged into their own Chromebooks. Whether they're logged into their Chromebook, their desktop at home, or the Chromebook that we provided. So that's another key feature. The other thing I wanted to add was the interesting part is we've done a little negotiating, and so the number you see here listed, the 211, 988 number, we've gotten that down another roughly 11%. So I think what you would actually would be approving would be closer to 188, 270. So that isn't reflected on your copies of the 3-box yet, but we intend to change that, and it will be updated subsequently. So any questions, Derek or I? Derek's better for the content and how this works. He's in there day to day, and I can answer any other questions.
This is a 5-year contract?
Yeah, we're coming off of a 5-year contract. We had 5 years with them, and and Derek told me the other day, this software has not gone down. It has not been a thorn in our side once. So it's very well respected, and we have a huge investment as far as our training. All of our teachers, they know how to use this. So it's asking for another 5 years.
And then during that 5 years, just like you talked about the hall pass, if they bring on new products, would we be included in that? Any updates?
Some of them, like updates and features, some of them are just included with our contract.
Okay.
But Hall Pass, since it's a new offering and it's sort of a niche software, we actually use a different software to do that same very thing.
Right.
So bundled with this, there is if you'd like us to explore that, but we could bundle it with this. But what we thought we would do is let this gain some maturity. This is a new piece of software that they're offering. Let it grow a little bit, and then maybe reevaluate a year, 2 years when the other product that we use comes off of. We have a 1 year on that one.
You can evaluate it at
then
that
evaluate at that time
because it doesn't meet all the needs that we specifically need within the valley. The other question, and it shows my ignorance. If I'm in a classroom and I, as a teacher, block certain things, then I move into another classroom, do all those blocks reoccur? How does that work? I don't understand that.
What you do is you create what's called a scene, and so that's one of the things. And you tailor make the scene, and you could create a list of 30 scenes and save them. So I'm teaching high school, I teach 1 hour, and for this group, I want them to be focused on this site, and I don't want them watching YouTube and all that. So I plug in very quickly for that hour. I mean, it's really just a click of a button, the no YouTube scene. And then when they come in, there's no YouTube. The next class that comes in, they need to be watching a video on YouTube. So I just remove that scene as the next hour comes in, and then.
But if I'm in your class and then I go to Scott's class, second hour. What happens?
So they're 45-minute long scenes. They're tailor-made to our class times. So when that student then moves to the next class, they are off of that teacher's and now onto that teacher's.
And then you said something about because we're a one-on-one district, and our middle school and high school students are allowed to take their Chromebooks home.
So our
Help
teachers
me understand that.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So our teachers are not able to view our students' computers once they leave our district. That's set up by IP address, so they cannot see what our students are doing at home. However, we as a district are liable and need to be able to know what our students are doing on our devices in our accounts. So then GoGuardian is able to track the websites they go to and what they do at home.
So from a safety and security standpoint, if somebody wants to get into other areas, they would have to use their own device.
Yeah, so at that point, yes. I mean, if they are logged into our device with a Google account, with a HVS Google account, GoGuardian turns on.
Okay.
I mean, other than that, if they're on their own device, if they're on their phone, if they're on a computer, we are not looking at that.
So we still have, from a safety and security standpoint, control over what our students can get into
at home.
At home with district-issued technology.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Other questions? I don't think so. I think we're good. Thank you. Excellent presentation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to know, as the mother of a 12-year-old who learns new words and looks them up, and you worry a little bit about what she's going to find when she looks them up, knowing that when she uses her Chromebook to look up those words, she's going to find the safe definitions.
Yep.
And not whatever fresh horribleness happens to come up on Google when she does that search.
That's why they all love their phones.
That's why they love their phones, I know. GoGuardian at home for parents. I think we need to look into that. All right, thank you very much. We appreciate it again. Any questions, concerns? I know when the committees heard this presentation a little while ago, they were very impressed and happy to bring it and have us talk about it. It is nice to know that even when our kids are using their devices at home, those parameters are there because it's important for them to not go off the rails with our devices even at their home. So thank you. One more opportunity for public comment. I'll give a sec. No? Okay. Good and welfare. I will give you just my theater recommendation for the weekend, which is Big Fish at Lakeland High School. They will be doing shows Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday, I don't know. But tickets are available online, and there will probably also be tickets at the door. I will be there. It's a tearjerker. Just be prepared. Bring some tissues. Other good and welfare?
Just
Mr. Wiseman.
Yes, one real quick one, and it was brought up just recently. Everybody has a Chromebook in front of them. What are you looking at? And the answer is, we have many of our agendas on here. So it's not, we're not watching the basketball game or the football game.
YouTube is
okay?
turned off on our scene.
It's really work-related. So Dr. Slot, he's old school. He does everything with paper. So that's why he doesn't have one. But somebody brought that up. I'm not sure who brought it up.
I'm hybrid.
But
I'm hybrid.
we're not looking at other things. It's focused on our agenda many times.
Yep. All right. All right. With that, thank you very much, and we are adjourned.
Wait a minute. See, somebody brought that